Welcome back. There's one missing piece with the diagram we created in the previous video on HTTP. We talked about URL parameters such as the google.com/about and query string parameters we can do with get. But what about the data when we post something? Can we post anything? Well, not really. When exchanging data between a browser and a server, the data can only be text. So we can't just send a JavaScript object such as a user with first name John and last name Doe. One, because HTTP won't understand it. But also, if we were sending this data to Google servers, well, unlike the front end, the web browser where HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is a standard, when I send a user object to the server, a server can use any type of language like Python, Go, PHP. If we send them a JavaScript type, like an object, they will really be confused because they would have no idea what it is. That's not really their language. Text, on the other hand, can be understood by all. So we need a way to have a standard way to send data over the wires and receive it. That is what Json is, and what we're going to talk about in this video. Json stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's a syntax for storing and exchanging data, and it's text written with JavaScript Object Notation. Let's look at the second point here. JSON is a syntax for storing and exchanging data. It's used to send data between machines. Is it the only way? No. There's also XML. Both XML and JSON can be used to receive data from a web server. And you can see the differences between the two. These are the same data, just first names and last names of employees. And XML uses this HTML-like syntax, while JSON uses, well, an object, JavaScript object-like syntax. But the standard is now more towards JSON. Because when you're writing front-end code in JavaScript, getting a JSON data back makes it easier to load that data into an object tree because it's so similar to a JavaScript object than an XML. And JSON format is a more succinct way which saves bandwidth and improves response times when sending messages back and forth between client and server. And XML is just not very efficient. So JSON now is more of a standard. You'll still see XML, but it is outdated, so we won't be talking about it in this video. But they both are used to transfer data between two machines that might not speak the same language. JSON, however, although it looks similar to JavaScript, it is a little bit different. It has these double quotes for even properties. Everything has to be a string and wrapped around double quotes. And, well, it looks like it's a object syntax. But JSON can be read by any language. If Google servers was running a different language, they'll understand JSON. They'll be able to modify that JSON, which is just text, into their own version. So now we can convert this into a JSON object, send it over HTTP, and then the Google servers, or whatever it is, will change it to their own language, understand it, and then send a response again. Let's say, for example, it was returning the user has money, $345. Well, it will then modify this to JSON, send it over the wire, and then the web browser will change it from JSON to JavaScript. But how can we do that? Luckily for us, JavaScript comes with its own JSON function. We have JSON parse and JSON stringify. With JSON parse, if we had JSON, again, this form, we simply wrap it as the parameter of parse, and it will return a object. In the opposite way, with stringify, we can give it an object such as the one we just created, and it will return JSON. So this my.json variable can now be put into the HTTP request to send it over the wire. Or the server can respond with my.json. So let's review. JSON is text, and we can convert any JavaScript object into JSON and send JSON to the server. We can also convert any JSON received from the server into JavaScript objects. This way we can work with data as JavaScript objects with no complicated translation. And this text can be used as a data format for any programming language. So let's go through the flow one more time now with this complete. User object. Before I send it with HTTP, I will do JSON.stringify user. So now it's converted into a JSON string. And this JSON string will be sent over HTTP to the Google servers. It is then going to say JSON parse this user so it understands it. Let's say it was running JavaScript or Node. Now it'll understand the user. It'll say, oh, he wants the money amount for this user. So now it gets money, 345, from the account. It stringifies it, the money variable, sends it with a status code of 200. And now the web browser can parse this string that it received and see that, oh yeah, I have a variable money of $345. And don't worry, when we get to the backend section, in a few videos, we are going to show you exactly how to do this in code, how to make HTTP requests, use JSON, use get, post, put, delete methods. And I'm going to show you how to do that in our final project as well. But now this diagram, although a little bit messy, should make a little bit more sense. And you should understand now how things are working. In the next video, I'm going to introduce you to something that changed web browsing in 2006. I'll see you in that one. Bye-bye.